viewers, this is Firecrackers, and we're about to look at the year 2024 in retrospect, especially when it comes to security in Nigeria. So let me start with my guest here in the studio. If we are to look at the security terrain of Nigeria in 2024, how would you rate it so far?
Starting from where?
Well, we could look at if they've improved, if there has been improvement. We've always been having cases of banditries, that is, especially in the northern part of Nigeria. We have secessionists in the southern part of Nigeria. And if we are to look at generally security of lives and properties, if you would rate how it has been in 2024, how would you say this?
Well, let us first of all appreciate ourselves as citizens of this country, having gone through so many issues within us, and we should also appreciate the government too. If we look deep, we complain. Yes, we are bound to complain. Even in Freetown, where things ought to be free, there's a lot of hustling too in Freetown. And in New York, I don't think New York is new as New York anymore. From the video, even if I've not visited the state before. From video, New York is not that new, because you can imagine how New York will look like now in the place of Dubai. So goes with our country. We grow. At times, things get rough. Some areas get big and better. While you are crying that things are not working right, some who are doing legitimate business and are making profit might be looking at you as somebody who is lazy, most especially when you come into the art world. When I'm talking about I'm talking about the entertainment industry. So many things are going on there. You find these boys with legitimate contract business, a deal, building houses of 100 million, 200 million, buying cars of 340 million. You want to talk within, around that rank, they will look at you as if you're not wise. Or those who are operating with the level of technology, high-tech power that you can put in place by these young ones that are smart, they will look at you as if you're not serious. And for some entrepreneurs that are not into government circle, and if they are doing well, you say that the country is bad, they look at you. Because when you think what is bad here is an advantage for good on the other side. And you can, when you go deep, if you are not too careful, you might not appreciate some of the good side of what a lot of people have achieved in this part of the world, especially in West Africa, not to talk of Africa. And if you hear the news from the outside Nigeria, within Africa, not to talk of the international world, you'll be looking at it. Are they discussing Nigeria? Because when you hear people from some part of Tunisia, Ivory Coast, Cameroon, when they talk about your country, you'll be wondering and watching on social media and some reality show that you stumble upon, you'll be thinking that, shouldn't the same country when I did they talk about, or somewhere else. You might not be speaking in the right justice mind of your country. But again, if we look at it so deep from our past, security-wise, is a wobbling act. You understand? The graph is it's not stable. It depends on how it comes to you. If we really want to talk to ourselves, outside those who are complaining from the eastern part of this country, that they complain, I don't know, I've not been to the east for only God knows when. I don't know why, you understand. But I know too well that the noise of shooting and killing has gone down. I may not be right, but I can tell you that the news has gone down. And if you look at it from the event recently between Abuja, Kaduna, Abuja, up north, we've been finding some relative silence in the area of mutilation of killing by bandits and wrestlers and stuff like that. Though we've not really gotten it right. But somehow, let us begin to thank God and begin to hope that it will get better in 2025. Yes, It could be very deep, not even when you're a victim, just like the event that happened in your Ibadan recently, where people were rushing for food. Nigeria has gone so. I feel for my nation. I feel so sad that this is what we have become now. Not even Nigeria as a whole, in the southern part of Nigeria, where we so much respect our dignity. It's so bad that, let me be a bit tribalistic here, that the Yoruba race have also turned to a big time beggar that you can find in parties, where you are having a party, you see a matured human being logically coming with a nylon, taking food away from party. That's even a professional beggar. They haven't bought with the O1 uniform with a reasonable amount of between 6,000 to 7,000, 12,000 naira. Can still go with a polythene bag and be packing rice. That is very insulting and disgraceful to my people.
Okay, all right. So now let us take the opinion of Adam Sabo on this. If we are to look at how security has been in Nigeria in 2024, how would you rate us? Did we have an improvement when compared to 2023? And which areas do you think that we should improve on?
I think so far so good. There seems to be an improvement of late in the security situation in the country. There's no doubt about that. If you look at the northeast, the southwest, the fighting forces, our security forces, have been able to penetrate to areas where hitherto they have not been able to penetrate. We are also aware of the number of the leaders of the various terrorist organizations that have been brought down, and we're also aware, even in the southeast, where we have the ESN, areas that security forces have not been able to penetrate into in decimating their activities. In recent times, they have been able to move into those areas, and then I think there is a problem with the network. But if you are hearing me, what I'm saying is that to a very large extent, there is improvement. There is improvement in the acquisition of a technology and armament for the fighting forces. There is improvement in recruitment. There is improvement in training. And there is improvement of various operations, going on simultaneously in the various areas that we have so much. However, this is not to say that we are where we want to be, that Nigerians will really appreciate. So I therefore believe that they don't also forget that some of these agencies, security agencies, have changed leadership. I don't know if you are hearing me.
Yes, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Please go ahead.
Okay. So, like I was saying, some of the agencies have changed of leadership in recent times, and they have mapped out new strategies, which certainly we will begin to see as we enter the new year. But by and large, I think there is an area that government still need to work on, and that area, to my mind, is the basic reasons for some of these security challenges. In other words, the economic situation of the country. You and I agree that in any country where the standard of living is high, there's a likeliness of there's a less likeliness of much security challenges in those countries. So, if you look at the Northeast, some of these terrorists recruit their foot soldiers from among the poor in those society, and therefore they find it easy, to get them into their fold. Government should look at, and when I mean government, I don't mean government, federal government alone, particularly the state governments of those areas. What are some? Because if you look at some of their programs, some of them can be amusing. I saw some empowerment program where what they provided was shoe shining equipment and things like that. I think we should look at our economy holistically and what each tier of government could do, to bring about an improvement in the economic activities of the nation. That will help us in a very great way. But let me say this, that whatever the situation, Nigerians must not be tired of coming to the aid of government and security agencies by way of credible intelligence, as it were. I am aware one of the agencies of recent have decided in its strategy to really go covert, and I think that will help us. I'm also aware of the decision of governors to establish the state police to man some of the very wide or manned spaces in our security architecture in this country. Therefore, I think that that program should begin in earnest in 2025 so that they can easily come on board, do recruitment, do training, provide the various armament in terms of not necessarily ammunition, technology is there, so that we can join hands with the existing ones and move to where we want to be. I think that it will do us a great good.
Thank you so much for that. And now to Chief Emmanuel Aworo. You see, in 2024, there was a report that said that Nigeria paid over 2 trillion naira when it comes to payment for ransom. Although we know that some sectors in the country have disagreed with that. They said that, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, that how could people come up with that amount of money? But if we look at that amount, 2 trillion naira is a lot of money. What do you think government could do to maybe, because we know in the Ninth Assembly they did try to pass a bill that would criminalize paying ransom, but a lot of human feeling is involved in this. So what do you think we could do about kidnapping and ransom payment in Nigeria?
Yeah, thank you, Yuri. Payment for ransom, it's something of the private sector thing. Your relation is kidnapped and you are threatened. If you get the police or you got government involved, we will kill the person. And most times people will now tend to go from behind. But that is not the big money. The big money aspect is actually government and government intermediaries. Now, you can see that for the past 1 year, the Northeast has been relatively quiet. But go and look at the budget for security for the governor. You will realize that it has probably gone up. They are paying for ransom to avoid negative publicity. Government actually is the biggest payer of ransom because they don't want negative publicity both locally and internationally. They pay in millions. And of course, whatever you are paying, there are middlemen along the road. Both security agents, both commissioners and all are all involved. Your special advisors are all involved. So you find that if the ransom is 1 billion, maybe the kidnapper itself gets maybe 100 million. So that is why even if you make a law criminalizing it, it's simply going to be something budgeted for security. Now, from the analysis we've seen, yes, it must be said, yes, the number, the statistics have lowered. For a period of almost a year now, we got less than 2,000 reported cases of kidnap. Mark the word, reported. There are many that are not reported. But for every 10, and you report one, so let's assume it's 10%. So if this year, so far, less than 2,000 kidnap reported, less than 2,000 killed, that's a lot of improvement. Those are things that happens in 1 month in the Northeast. The major challenge I can see here really is the Northwest. This new element called Lakurawa, they are actually coming in place of Boko Haram. Boko Haram was operating in the Northeast, but they seem to have either died out or have been bought out. But these new guys called Lakurawa, we don't know their ideology, we don't understand their modus operandi, And you can imagine what happened last week. The Nigerian Army or the Nigerian Air Force wanted to blow up a base of the Lakurawa people. They threw a bomb there, and then they said secondary explosion killed civilians. Those are the type of challenges we're going to have to meet. And the best approach in 2025 is to use technology. Technology we know is available to both the criminals and the government, but of course, government can control it and be able to can afford more. And it is only then that we'll be able to curtail this. Then, of course, international cooperation. If there's international cooperation where they get their apps, we can block it. For instance, look at what is happening to the IPOP guy. Finland has agreed now to take the IPOP leader to court in Finland. And when you now find that there is no safe haven for you, either in the Europe or in the Eastern world, you know that you are going to, most security challenges will either be localized or they can be nipped in the bud using modern technology. Thank you.
The North, Kaduna State Governor mentioned that for his administration, he decided to take it upon himself to actually talk with these bandits. Do you think that that might be the best course of action? Do that really work to discourage them, or do you think that that might actually enable them?
You're actually encouraging them, discussing with them. What are you going to discuss with them? Of course, you're going to wedge cola for them, so they will be going away with Ghana must go. So another group will come and say they didn't get a share in the last one. So another group will come. No, the idea, the whole situation is one, cut their source of supply, create jobs, provide social amenities and social security. Let there be no jobless. Everybody must have a living wage. Once you can take care of people, you don't have a steady pool of miscreants to join them. Two, their ideology. If they have issues with the ideology, the economy, or the form of government we have, they want Sharia or something, discuss these things holistically and let us come to a middle ground. But when you start discussing with criminals, what do you call them? You call them criminals. So if you are going to make money out of discussing with you, they make the money and hire new guys to come and make money the next time around.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much for that. And now to Adams Abu. What's your take on eradicating banditry in Nigeria? Because we move from having so much kidnap cases to issues of banditry. We even have situations whereby people living in these communities that these bandits are operating are having to pay tax to them. So what do you think could be done to nip that in the bud?
There is so many things. I mean, there are very many things that we can do, at least to ameliorate it to a level that is acceptable to us. But let me say this. In this situation, it's something that everybody must be involved. Let me start from the first one. We are all aware now that everywhere is not safe in the area of kidnapping. But how many Nigerians can say they will not pay ransom? You remember that when we had this cashless policy in our country, kidnapping went down because there was no cash to pay them ransom. But all of a sudden, the same Nigerians kicked against it, and we came back to our cash economy. So much now that one person can withdraw 20 million or more from the bank. And that is why when anyone becomes a victim now, you hear them demanding 50 million, 60 million, 100 million, and they are paying. And so we should look at what we should do first and foremost. And then another thing I want to talk about is, if Nigerians can remember, when the insecurity began, especially these terrorists began, the fear of security operatives had always been to avoid collateral damage. And of course, the international community was going to blackmail us. Some foreign government refused to sell armament to us because, especially air power, because they didn't want a situation where we use it against the innocent citizen. But this idea of collateral damage, there is no way you could fight the kind of war that we are fighting and you will be afraid every day of collateral damage. You will not be able to get to anywhere. Especially, look at the new organization that tries to recruit people by giving them cash. Some they even offer them up to $1 million in a country where the standard of living is low. So we must be ready to look at those policies, especially, criticize our operatives less when they have a reason to make mistake. If you look at the situation in Sokoto, virtually every NGO is calling for the head of the military, even when investigation has not been conducted. In the same society, we should wait for adequate investigation, what really happened, to be conducted for us to take sides. If not, you are demotivating the fighting forces, and we'll get back to where we were. So what I want to say is that Nigerians should try to bear with us where there are intelligence failures, if it was an intelligence failure, or where there are or there are situations we cannot understand until we get to where we understand, so that those that are fighting this cause for us will not be weakened. However, government must not relent in its effort to increase our fighting force, to give them the adequate training, to acquire the latest technology and armament that we need to fight this cause. But I want to appeal to the Nigerians in the area, particularly in the northeast, in the parts of north central and the northwest, where they are most this war is most prevalent, to continue to provide intelligence to the fighting force. Because whatever we are, like they said, intelligence, yes, we know there is technology, but human intelligence is most effective, especially in the kind of operation that is going on across the country. We need them to collaborate with the intelligence that we acquire with technology. Therefore, I want to say again, and I want to repeat, that we must give them that support. Finally, I want to repeat again, the state police should come on board first quarter of 2024. We should not operate it like we did in the case of community policing. No, let us go out seriously so that the open spaces that are left unmanned, we can have some people there. And for the first time, state government will have a responsibility of making a mandatory contribution to the security of the country. Because if you know, all this that they have been providing for the police, civil defense and all the like, they are just doing it, no law backing it up. Therefore, we need to give them something that will keep them on their toes, that they have a responsibility to their citizens in terms of security of this country. We must also not forget to continue to collaborate with international organizations, especially nations, other countries that have this technology, have this training, and are better off than us. We should not shy away from that. Even if it means for us to do it openly, well, there's no big deal about it. There's no nation that is independent of itself. After all, the European countries are taking resources from our country to build their own economy. So if they have to contribute in whatever way to the security of our nation, there is no big deal about it. We should not be shy for it.
DKY, thank you so much for that. And now to my guest there in the studio. So when we are looking at how security is run in Nigeria, number one, a lot of people don't like police. Now, if we are to say that we want to do state policing in Nigeria, despite the numerous advantages that has been listed that we would benefit from state policing, we also have people who are worried that the state government might also take advantage of it. So what are your thoughts on it?
You have no choice to face some reality when it comes to security issue. It has its pain, it also has its gain. All over the world, I don't think there's the love of police is always there, because I want to believe that before the police, everybody is a suspect. You get? So with such an attitude, unfortunately for us in this part of the world, we've been so militarized that the orientation we grew to understand is not too far from the colonial character that invoked us into military way of life. You know, when we got our independence in 1960, then moving into the Republican in 1963, channel to a democratic structure that we were thinking that people like us will grow to meet, we end up being trained by the military act. So you fear the uniform man a lot. The policeman that's supposed to be a friend, you understand, because of the colonial mentality that we believe is still in them, is still the obey the last order. The lyrics of the Nigerian police force has carved us into that trench that when a policeman says stop there, it's not asking you to stop like a father, like a mother, like a parent. It's asking you to stop with the force of the military act. And if you don't stop, they're going to slap you. You understand? So that has been what we've been holding on to for many years. But you will discover now that these days, from some few years back now, if you are smart to understand the terrain now of the police act, you will discover that the ranks and file are completely different in their action. You understand it? When you meet the policeman of a certain rank, the force that you'll be receiving, you just believe that there's no way of escape. The next thing is that this man will go lock me up. That'll be, in fact, the way they will be talking to you, you are scared that you don't know what is going to be the next line of action. So, but if you can begin to think your way to say, if you are taken to a police station, you can easily say, please, can you let me see the DPO? You might be, the channel might change. They might be looking at you that, okay, it's like this person understand the rules of this engagement so that they won't just slap you anyhow. So come to the state policing that we are looking up to. We already have state policing. It's just that they've not been empowered in a military form that we are also much afraid of. Take Lagos State, for instance. You already have a menial policing. What is the work of your last man? Is it not policing your trafficking? And they can arrest you. In fact, I can tell you that more Lagosian is afraid of a last man than a road safety officer. They even prefer that they run to the police than to run to a last man. In fact, they will, a good Lagosian will want to meet the soldier to slap him than to allow last man to arrest you. You understand it? Because if you look at the makeup, thank God the organization of last man now is changing that circle. You understand it? You will see the conduct of the last man now is more purified than what you used to have some years back. When they go pursue you, enter your mama house, you won't even know that they need to stop. So when you talk of the neighborhood watch, what is the work of the neighborhood watch too? It's like the state police that needs to monitor your environment. The neighborhood watch was introduced by Marwa, retired, Brigadier Marwa, retired, of the former administrator of Lagos State. He started it, taken over by our former governor, now president, in person of Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu. But more purified by Ambode, more purified, you understand, by Ambode, because the conduct of Ambode with the neighborhood watch, they were now, their format, their uniform was designed to fit in monitoring, where they have a bicycle all over some areas of your local government. You see them standing, and what they told us what they should be doing is to write a report of what they see around them. You understanding? In the area of criminal, if they notice any criminal act going on, or they notice any spot, or you report to them, they will write a report concerning that locality and send it to their headquarters. I don't know how the distribution goes, but that was the intention there. But today, it's so unfortunate that this same neighborhood that we thought that they are thinking towards that direction have now become traffic officer. You see last man, you see police, you see neighborhood standing by the traffic light. All they want to see is just feel that light. That's why you will know our force are working. So when you see this act, people like us begin to doubt that even this state police we are talking about, how are we going to get it right? Yes, Lagos State is really trying. You understand it? All this noise that people are making, Lagos State government is trying. The workforce, do they have what it takes? You understand it? Where the commissioner of police of Lagos State needs to take order from the IG before anything could be done. But anyhow, if you use sense, if the governor gets sense, he gets us and they do the thing where they work. So many things are involved. And the body language of the leadership, you understand it? We go away. You see, like we discussed about this issue of Sokoto State, we have casualty, for God's sake. It's just that this media vanguard, these media bloggers, how do I call them? These local news carriers that we just want to see something, and you know nothing almost about the security. Everybody says the security are not doing anything. These new guys that want to do some parading, I can tell you for free, the president of this country, when you look at his body language, this one know they take shit too. You understand it? The issue of Bala Blue is just a drama. You do Bala Blue with this one, you go see fire. That's why you see what is going on in the north. That crisis we used to have, that people will just come into a place, they will kill and they will just go. It's not, come on, can we be honest for once? You understand it? It's like creeping down. And if you come to the south, what of the south is? These guys troubling everywhere. In the east now, I can tell you for free, not because of the economy. A lot of people have traveled out of Lagos to the east. We are not going to. This is we were in a big crisis between 2017 to 2023. It was when a thick war in this Lagos. If you notice very well, that was a time for you to travel from Ojota to Ife. You need to do fasting and prayer. You understand it? But today, you can't say that is the same anymore. We can't just get everything wiped away just within 18 months of this administration. And I believe that they have more to offer. We are not going to clap hand for them now, but we know for some of us, if we are honest, for some of us that have been criticizing this government for many years, come on, for the first time, I think when they see my picture, they will say, what is going on here? You understand it? I can tell you for free, with the body language of the leader we are having, I think some things are being done well. And the state government will work well. They have security vote already. That thing has always been there. How have they been using it? You understand it? And I think that they too are being careful. They have their own authority as a state governor. You understand it? But the president you are having there is also, he will call your name. He will call you out that you are not doing well. You understand? I don't have right to remove you because you have the autonomous power. But when they meet in their council, they will call you out that what is going on there. Not only the security vote we are talking about now. The state governors have more money than never before in the history of the creation of the state of Nigeria. They have more money to do whatever they need to do. Either they need to go and call their marubot or their babalawo, their mamalawo, onkwalawo, to put in something for them so that the security network will be handled. Handle the security of this country, there will be food. Because what's the problem? People cannot go to farm. All this, they are not giving us food. The government are not giving, it's government having a farm. It's we that we have to create farm. You understand it? So all we can shout to say, okay, can you just please see to the security of this country, either from the north or from the east or the west, so that people can confidently go to farm. If you can go to farm, there's nothing to fear about. Not that somebody will just carry 500 cows and enter one person farm, finish the whole labor of that farm. We are also going to pay the price. You understand it? Why do we have scarcity of food and the cost of food getting so high? It's because we don't have farmers there anymore. In those days where you just enter one farm, you kill people. We have stayed in this country where 50 rice farmers were killed. And one of the security chief made a statement that before they go to that farm, why don't they inform the security? What kind of a language is that? But for free, you are not hearing such a news anymore. I want to believe our security men are really working, honestly. Let us give it to them. They are really working. Why? What is the numbers of security we are having there? Remember too well that the ratio we are still maintaining is still the ratio of 1973 or thereabout. How? What is the workforce? The numbers of your police that you are having here, I don't think it's even up to 600,000. and you want that 600,000 or 700,000 to watch over almost 180 million population. It's not work. It can't work. What is the work of your armed forces put together? Your armed forces put together are they up to 500,000, and you want them to march everywhere? And you know it is not all of them that will be on armor. Some will be on the administrative seat. You understand it? Some will be at the signal level doing stuff. So it is not everybody that carries the gun. You understand it? So you must understand this thing before you just open your Facebook and Twitter, begin to write nonsense, or because you want people to celebrate you that you know how to talk, or you want to see as if you are the good activist, whereas you are, even the activists of your home, you can't act well. They call you for meeting on your street, you won't go there, and you are saying you're a citizen. So these are the things I believe that we should put in place, and instead of putting forces on the president, let's put forces on the governors. They are the ones who get this information first. You understand it? They are the ones. We have all kinds of agencies on the state. They have a photocopier from Lagos. You see, Lagos set the pace and they copy. You understand it? And if they have to copy, they should copy well.
Okay, definitely. Okay, now I have to ask Adam Sabu this question. There's this saying that if insecurity is persisting in the country for a while, then that means probably the people, even in governance, have something to do with that particular situation, and that is why it is not going. So would you say that perhaps in Nigeria right now, we have some stakeholders who are benefiting from insecurity, and that is why we've not really seen a drastic reduction in it yet?
I don't think that is the way I want to put it. I think the way I want to put it is this, and I want to use a particular state as an example. Of recent, you and I heard of accusations or counter-accusations between a particular state governor, a present particular state governor, and a former governor of that state. Each one saying that you are aware about these people, you know about them, you are the ones sponsoring them, and all the like. You are also aware of some, I think, some, is it political leaders or lawmakers that were accused of harboring some terrorists in the Northeast some years back, and so on and so forth. I think those are the reasons where some people say government is interested. And of course, you have also heard of a massive corruption in funds allocated for security operations in this country in the past. You had some years back how a particular a senior government security official, or many of them, were accused of diverting funds meant for security operations, meant for armaments, meant for even training and so on, were diverted. I think those are the reasons, those are the kind of things that those people are saying. It's not as if a sitting government or a sitting president would want to keep, terrorism going on in his country because there's something to benefit. That is not what we are saying. And if you look at like the last speaker said, you look at the present government and the president, he is somebody that he has given free hand to various security agencies, their heads, to operate and bring result. And he's always on their toe to bring result. Nobody has any excuse. And this is not the era where money meant for security operations are diverted any longer by, their leaders or whatever. So I think why those people are saying that are those instances that I'm giving you, especially in the past, but certainly not now, because anybody that does that now knows that he's in for a very big trouble, and he will not even be covered for any reason. And I also know that even if you look at the policy, some of the policies of the present government, there are policies that is not sparing anyone, whether you are from his party or not. I'm not speaking for, but that is the reality. If you look at the local government autonomy, for instance, I mean, it affects all the parties, and so that is what is going to be. And when the police, like the state police we are talking about, if it is established now, none of them can be spared the idea of they will use it against political opponents. We are supposed to grow as a nation, and that will make us to grow, because we will challenge them. People will challenge them if they use the state police against political opponents. I mean, certainly the federal, there will be natural boundaries that where the national security organizations will take over from the state police and things like that. It's not as if they will have a field day doing whatever they want to do. Certainly not. So I don't want to believe now that the idea of if the thing stays beyond is because of those accusations and some of those incidents that we experienced in the past. But I think that will not be a thing that will continue to go on in the present situation.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that. And lastly, I have to ask Chief Emmanuel this question just to round up. For 2025 budget, security got the lion's share. So if we are to look at how things are supposed to be in 2025 security-wise, what are the things that you're expecting to see if we truly want improvement in the security architecture of Nigeria? It seems it's not with us at this time, though it would have been really nice to have his opinion on that. But sadly, we have run out of time, and this is where we'll be drawing the curtains close on today's episode of Firecrackers. We thank you so much for staying with us to the very end.